inside of that room?
Yeah, I'm in here.
Okay, Jimmy, would you like to come downstairs for today's specials?
Yes, specials are my favorite.
Okay, Jimmy, I'll see you down there.
Works, Chris.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of people
love it.
feel better after hearing that.
I've heard people say they listen just for the Jimmy and then they skip.
They demand it. Listen for the Jimmy, stay for the education. Hey, everybody. Yeah! Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Yeah! Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Yes, yes. Welcome
a lot of yeses
back to the Paid Search Podcast. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, different kind of shirt today, but it still has a pocket. T-shirt with a pocket. I have not seen that in years, so thanks for showing that to me.
Yeah, this one doesn't hold a pen very well. I tried it, and see, it kind of flops around. It's not optimal for
very shallow pocket.
Yeah, just kind of for show, to cover your left nipple, make sure there's no poke through there, which it does an excellent job of.
I could see you being like a review guy online. Like, I really like the texture of this t-shirt,
it's so soft.
But the front pocket, it was a little shallow.
That would be the job.
Hey, but other than that shallow pocket, saw you last night for the once a month Super Patreon meetup. That was great. You had the lights down low. That was interesting. Never seen you
romantic
in that light before. And how's it going today? The lights are back on.
Yeah, it's daytime.
The hair's looking good.
Always. Well, not always.
Body's looking good.
Always.
Personality's good. You're the total package.
I was just gonna wait. How far is he gonna go?
Fortunate. So fortunate to do a podcast with you in all these years, and we're still cranking them out.
Yeah,
and
still friends.
You still like me. I still like you.
Yep.
Yeah, we're coming to the year end. You got me a Christmas gift. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And mine's in the mail.
Oh, well, good. I hope it's a picture of you. Last year, I got a Christmas card. Hopefully, I get another Christmas card, but with a baby in it this time.
Yes, that's for sure.
It's exciting.
Little 9-month-old.
Yeah.
So, Chris, we have a Q&A today, and then we have a wonderful Patreon show planned after that where we'll talk a little Google Ads Editor. As we saw last night, talking to the other super patrons, a lot's going on with Google Ads, and Editor is coming in handy these days. And we had a kind of wow, something clicked moment. So that was interesting. A lot of great questions today, and I don't know. I just happy to be here. I think this comes out Christmas week, so
Merry Christmas.
End of the year here.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody. All right, Chris. Well, let's get into the show. I'm looking forward to doing these questions with you, and let's jump in.
Yeah. Well, you guys know that we are professionals. You know that we're experts, and you value our opinion, and that's why we have thousands and thousands, millions of listeners around the world. And so we try and bring you the best suggestions that we can. And that's why one of our first suggestions we put at the top of the show, every show, is Optio. Optio is an online Google Ads software designed to help you manage your Google Ads account, whether you have 1, 15, or 1,500. This is the tool designed to get more done in Google Ads. You can be smart and powerful and successful with this tool because it's designed to answer the question essentially of why you're listening. Why are you listening to the show? Is because you want to know more ideas. You need more ways to succeed. And this tool is designed to get those answers for you. It's designed to suggest things to you, not to take over your accounts. You're smart. You're listening to the show. We're smart. We make our own decisions. This tool brings those issues forward in a very friendly to understand way. Colors, graphs, charts, little pop-ups to say, hey, did you notice that this ad's performing poorly compared to others. Why don't you try changing the headline? Great little things like that, not things that say, hey, let's turn everything on automated and just cross our fingers. No, it's a smart system. It's smart and it knows what to do. So I highly encourage you guys to check it out. If you go to optio.com, you'll see a little button that says start your free 30-day trial. Guess what? You can ignore that button because you have the secret. You can go to optio.com/PSP2. Use the little chat box down in the bottom right corner. Tell them you're a paid search podcast listener and you get an 8-week free trial. Much longer than 30 days. So check it out. We highly recommend the software. We thank them for their sponsorship. And with that, Jason, we're going to take a trip to Canada. Beautiful place. Very cold this time of year. And Rod from Toronto, Canada says, hi, Jason and Chris. Love the show, and I have listened to pretty much every episode, and I have to say, out of all the courses I have taken, books, and have read, and videos, and I've watched, I have not learned as much as listening to your podcast. My question is this. If I had 1 hour a week to go into my Google Ads account and follow a checklist as to what needs to be done, including keywords, adding them, pausing them, bid adjustments, ad copy review, what would the checklist look like? I know you've talked about this in length about every aspect of Google Ads, but I would love to know your thoughts on this for folks like me who have limited time to spend on Google Ads, but still want to make sure they keep it in top shape and profitable. Keep up the good work. With love from Canada. P.S. Don't buy our country and turn it into a giant jailhouse. Sorry, I think that's already in the works, Rod. But Jason...
Is he going to make an Oklahoma joke again?
Yeah.
They call Oklahoma Texas's prison.
Prison. It's my favorite joke.
Prison colony down
all
here.
These years, it's my favorite joke I've ever made. That's...
You know, I had a joke the other day, or not a joke, I had a thought, and I'll just put it out there, that I think Oklahoma people are going to start talking about Texas, but everyone's like, Texas is so cool, Texas is so great. And you know what we're going to start doing? Instead of being defensive about it and then promoting Oklahoma, we're just going to go, yeah, Texas is great. I agree. I wish I could be there too. Have fun. I'll come visit you. I wish I could be there. Because we have a really good thing going here, Chris. And
yep, I see.
A lot of good things going here, and I just want you guys to stay down there. Yeah. So we used to be
plan.
defensive. Now we're just gonna. Now I'm just gonna be complimentary.
Everybody's moving here. It may not stay that way. If
Texas is becoming very, very popular.
Yes,
it is the number one booming place, and
maybe that's not a good thing.
I like. Well, things happen. Home prices, all that kind of stuff. You know, and
that's true.
I've had people I know from Indiana say they moved to Oklahoma for home prices. I was like, wait, you're talking Indiana? I didn't know it was expensive compared to here. But yeah, we got a good thing going here. So, but hey, you know, Texas is better. So enjoy Texas. And
thank you.
Hope you stay down there. But now we're talking about Toronto, Canada. Chris, I think you'll like this answer. I crave simplicity these days. If they sold simplicity in a potato bag chip, I would just buy it every week and eat it. I love simplicity. Every answer, every thought, I'm so stressed. I'm so time starved. I just want simplicity in life. So if you have 1 hour a week, I broke it down like this to keep things simple. 3 weeks a month, do additions. 1 week a month, spend your hour reviewing the data and making changes. The reason I broke it down that way is because if you're in an account once a week and you only have 1 hour, I feel like a lot of the things we talked about, bid adjustments, ad copy review, adding and pausing keywords that he talked about in his question, those kind of things, if you do those, if you only have a week, you may think like, oh, I only have a week. I got to do the most important things. I'm going to do these most important things every week. And I think you'll be over optimizing an account.
Man.
And so
that is good.
Yeah.
That is so.
I'll take a little praise.
Yeah.
I'll take a little premature praise.
That's such a good answer. Because
do you love this answer?
I do.
I wrote
you
this
were
up
exactly.
I was like,
you were exactly right.
Like, my Uncle Chris is going to love this.
It's
I'm going to get a pat on the head from my uncle.
It's exactly right. Because I think, you know, what Rod is really worried about is getting everything done. And what I see so often is, and I think it's so chronic, and I've always had a hard time addressing it, is over management. And this solves that issue. Don't judge your keywords and judge the performance and make changes all in one sweep. Find new things, tweak little things here and there, but then once a month, every fourth week, third week, whatever it is, you're going to come in and make actual decisions based on trends and ideas. So that's great. Please continue.
Yeah. So, and by the way, if you have a good account, it should not require over optimization because it's a good account. And so I think that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, so 1 hour a week, 3 weeks a month, what I would be doing is reviewing search terms very quickly and more quicker these days because you have less for keyword ideas, negative keyword ideas, and potential problem keywords. So just a search term review. Research and ad copy ideas. Really take some time. Think about your customers. Think about the phone calls you've had with them over the last week. What are their problems that you solve? See what other people are doing. Get some ad copy ideas going and implement them. Put in new ads. Research and add keyword ideas. Same process. Do Google searches. See how people are searching for these things. Find some from your search terms report. What are the ways customers are referring to things? Go to other people's websites, go to your website, see all the services you and they offer that you also offer. How do people refer to different services? Research and add keyword ideas, and then run experiments. Set up experiments and get them in the works. Ad copy experiments, bidding, whatever you want to do, but get some experiments going. And then 1 week a month, spend your hour judging that work. Judge your keywords last 30 days, judge your ads last 30 days, judge your experiments, and then adjust bids, pause keywords and ads, depending on that data for the last 30 days, and then decide on your experiments as well. And I think if you keep the decision-making down to 1 week a month, you'll avoid the problem of over-optimizing. And if you focus on adding and being creative and trying to grow the account 3 weeks a month, you'll make yourself do what is the hardest work in a Google Ads account. Growing it when it's already good, coming up with that great ad copy that you haven't come up with, that's hard work. And by prioritizing that 3 weeks a month, you'll actually get that stuff done. You like that process for busy business owners, Chris?
I like that. I think that covers one of the things that I like so much about advice that I give on Google Ads is something that makes it less stressful. Simplicity, something that should help you get a sigh of relief. If this doesn't give you a sigh of relief, then maybe you misunderstood Jason, because he basically just laid out a very simple process. It should take, if you don't want to spend actually, I would say don't spend a full hour doing this once a week. Do this 3 times a week at 10 to 15 minute increments, like 10 minutes on Monday, look at a few keywords, look at a few search terms, negative keywords, and then 10 minutes, on Wednesday and 10 minutes on Friday. Don't spend a whole hour, because I think when people spend a whole hour is when they start easing themselves into that judging the keywords, over analyzing,
turning stuff off. This keyword had a bad week, I'm going to kill it off. It's like, come on. But it is a bad move. We talked about this, I think, with the quality score talk last week. Messing up a good account is one of the easiest things to do in Google Ads. And so I agree with you. If you have a strict time limit, you can overdo it. So, and that's the beauty of experiments. If you have all that energy, you want to do, but put it in experiments where you can at least protect the integrity of the existing account. So Chris, we will go north from Toronto, Canada to Asheville, North Carolina. And we flew over the Arctic. We went over the whole world.
Oh,
that's what I meant by north.
North as in north means south. Gotcha.
Yeah. Hans from Asheville, North Carolina, in the amazing and wonderful United States of America. And I appreciate that, Hans. Thank you, Hans. I didn't need to be told that. I know it. I know you know it, but it's great to say it every time we can. So thank you, Hans, from the amazing and wonderful United States of America. Chris and Jason, you mentioned something recently in your podcast around keywords. I review yesterday's search terms every morning. I'm either adding them as keywords, matching to the correct campaign, or adding them as negative keywords. When I add them as keywords, Google suggests adding most as broad. And I think that's kind of the default setting where you click add a keyword, it shows up as broad. Yep. So his question is, if you have a keyword like moving companies in my area, do you add it as a pure broad or do you add it with modifiers or as phrase or even exact? So he's changing all the broad ones. He gets to show up there automatically as modified broad, and he adds plus signs to every word in the keyword. He says, do you agree or disagree? Keep up the great work, and thank you again. Much appreciated. So Chris, we're talking adding keywords from the search terms report. First, I want to know, when you do that, number one, do you do that? And if you do, what's your default match type? And then we can get into a discussion of pure broad keywords. So what do you usually do when you're on that search terms report? Do you add keywords from there, or do you kind of write them somewhere else and add them later?
It really depends on where the originating search comes from. And I think it deserves two scenarios. Scenario one is you have an account with a lot of broad match, modified broad match, I should say. And inside of that, you're getting a lot of 2-word, maybe 3-word searches. The search terms are 2 or 3 words. With something like that, I'm probably going to do exact match, or put a plus in front of every one. But more likely, I'm going to do phrase or exact. That's probably what I'm going to do. If it's 2 words, if it's 3 words in that keyword, I'm going to do.
And that's what you mean by what type of account you're running. If it's a tight account, you're focused on search terms. If you see search terms you're more inclined to add them in a lockdown way, so it continues to be a lockdown, high quality search term account.
Yeah. And scenario 2 is same kind of account, but the searches are 3, 4, 5 words. Okay. What I'm going to do on that is I'm going to be much looser. If the search term is 3, 4, 5 words or more long, I'm going to add a plus to maybe just one spot. That's all I'm going to do. Because if you go back to a couple episodes back, I still stick to that same idea. I'm rethinking my match types based on the context and the idea of the keyword itself. So if it is moving companies in my area, Oklahoma City, I'm not going to put pluses in front of every one of those. I'm going to put a plus in front of maybe moving. That's it. That's all I'll do, because the rest of the keyword has the full context, and I don't need that as an exact. I'm not going to try and,
I'm sweating. You're making people nervous. You're making me nervous. The super patrons are up on this to where we're at in terms of what we've been talking about with them with pure broad keywords. Let me throw this out to the rest of the audience. Something in the fourth quarter of this year for Chris and I has changed significantly. Yeah. And I, speaking for myself, the biggest change for me in the last quarter has been the way I'm seeing broad keywords come in, and then the performance from them. And then that's changed the way I look at broad keywords. Chris is there too. And we're not ready to kind of dig into it yet, but, and kind of make recommendations or at least talk about what we do. But something's changing with pure broad keywords. And the sum of it is that we're living what feels like in a post-match type society. I couldn't go with world because you've already taken that one.
Post-close variant, right? That's the...
No, but it feels further than that, because at this point, if broad's going to step up to the plate and have high quality scores and produce good, and I put in an exact match 3-word keyword and you're going to show me up on an acronym. What do you want me to do?
Right.
What do match types mean anymore? So it's a weird thing going on. We're trying to kind of figure out the way. I don't know. We're all just going along as things change. But the idea, you're right, Chris, of adding a plus sign to all 5 words in a keyword like moving companies in my area.
Nope.
What's the point anymore? And I agree with you. If you have a looser account and you're trying stuff, moving companies in my area, plus sign on moving, maybe a plus sign on companies in another version. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff we're doing these days. So that's how you would add it. So you're trying to make the most of your time there in the search terms report. You're like, if I have this great keyword and I'm open to things being looser because things are changing with Google, I'm not going to waste my time with a phrase match when I probably already have that phrase match something close in there. So I see what you're saying. That's very interesting.
Yeah. It really, all of it comes down to each scenario. The difference was the length of the search term. Scenario 1 was a short little search term. Scenario 2 was a longer tail search term. And I treat those differently.
Well, let's think about the search terms report in general. Adding keywords from that search terms report where you highlight the keyword and then you hit add to whatever campaign, that's a different part of work compared to coming up with new keywords and then adding them to ad groups across different campaigns. I like the way you work there. If you're only in the search terms report and you're trying to make the most of your time in there and get the most bang for your buck by adding that keyword or that search term as a keyword, I like the way you think about it. You're going like, okay, if I'm keeping things tight, if that's the kind of campaign this is, I'm going to continue to keep it tight and make the most of my time. Boom, it's added. I've added it. And then later on, if I want to open things up or add more keywords, I can. But if you're already in a loose campaign and this came in from a broad keyword and that's a strategy, then you go, no, I'm not going to sit here and add phrase match, exact match, all the modifiers and some modifiers and take all that time.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. I'm in and out of the search terms report. Let me make the most of my time. I already have it. It came in from a phrase. It came in from a pure broad. I want to see what this one comes in with one modifier. You add one modifier, boom, it's added. And even though that's not like as good as adding all the match types and making an ad group that matches those keywords, it's not as good as that, no. But we don't live in a theoretical world. We live in the real world, and we're in a search terms report, and we're in the search term mindset. So let's just make the most bang for our buck. And I love on an open account adding that one modifier to a long word phrase and just seeing what happens.
Darian from Toronto, Canada, again.
All right. We're going up and down. This is the direct flight from Toronto to Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, this one we don't have to cross the Atlantic or whatever the heck ocean is around there. Okay. And this one's straightforward. Just asks a straightforward question. Darian just gets straight to the point. He doesn't even say, hey, I love your show. He says, hey, boys, listen. First he smacks you. He's like, hey, listen, look at me. What attribution model do you prefer to use for conversion tracking? Do you use different models for different business categories? Then he says a comment to the side. I've been reading more and more posts about this online and wondered what you guys think. I'm going to add a quick thing at the end that says, and Jason, you do great work. You're really the only reason I listen. There we go. Now you're hooked. Okay. Now you like Darian, right?
Wow, that's a great Darian. Thank you very much. Chris, he said he reads more and more posts about this online. I think that's something you and I don't do a lot of.
No, we don't.
We don't do a lot of. We don't read a lot of posts because you know what? That's a game in itself. And I talk about this on sometimes like artificial intelligence and the content and all that. They're taking your money, taking your time. Mm-hmm. Chris, if you go down that road, it'll never end. Mm-hmm. They will continue making content.
Yeah.
They will continue making posts about anything. And if we're down to attribution models,
it's a dry road.
We're deep in this forest here. So, what do I prefer? Okay, so the only business model that I work for is lead generation. Companies need the phone to ring. They need the lead forms to be filled out. And they don't need this because it just happens automatically because it's so awesome. The chat boxes to be filled out. People love their chat boxes. Oh, man, if I could just talk to my wife through a chat box, talk to my son through a chat box, what a world it would be. So
great.
My clients need leads. For me, most 97, 99% of the conversions we get are coming from the last click. Mm-hmm. So that is what I prefer. I prefer last click. Okay. And by the way, I'll throw this out there. When my clients see fractional conversions on their monthly reports, and we got like 10.3 conversions, that causes a world of pain for my clients and their clients. And
how do you get a 0.3?
Nobody likes. How do you do it? And then I explain to them, and
they're like, I don't care.
They don't. It's not a thing you get instantly. And even myself with attribution models, Chris, I did not understand them. Probably the first 17 times I looked into them, and then finally something clicked and I got it. But it causes a lot of drama.
Yeah,
and it's just not needed for the business models I work for. Last click is where I'm at.
Okay, so here's my strategy. Listen, Darian, you want to go out and read blogs? You go for it. I've read 0 blogs, and I've just formed my own opinion. There's probably a whole lot more depth, and maybe there's smarter people out there, but they write blogs and nobody reads those. So here's the thing. I use last click when I have a small budget couple of campaigns. Maybe I have a remarketing and a search campaign. Okay. I want last click. Done. Lead generation. Maybe it's e-commerce. Maybe I just have a shopping and a remarketing, or maybe just a shopping, or maybe just a search. If it's small and simple, last click is all I want. But when complexity enters the ring and I have a high funnel, a mid funnel, a low funnel, a search campaign, a shopping campaign, a remarketing campaign, a YouTube remarketing, a YouTube non-remarketing, a display campaign. I mean, I'm out there trying to sample the market from every angle. What I tend to do is then reconsider the last click because I want to give credit where credit's due. So when it comes to attribution models, I approach it on a 1 or 2 option. Option 1 is simplicity means last click. Complexity means possibly position-based or linear or time decay. That's usually the way that I go. So that's how I like to play it. I don't usually go with data-driven because data-driven's like immediately all the ability for me to see what's happening is sucked out. You know, I understand how time decay works. I understand how linear works. I understand how position-based works. But there's something mysterious about data-driven, and if I can't see it and I can't understand it, it's going to lead to more confusion. I don't like it. So that's my idea. That's my suggestion. Simplicity means last click. Non-simplicity means possibly something else.
We've got one more from Robert, and I'll read that and you can answer that. But before that, why don't you tell us about Optio one more time and then we'll close out the show.
Optio.com/PSP2. If you haven't tried it, listen. You are part of the minority because I know after speaking to many of our listeners, having a relationship with many of our patrons, this is a tool that people use. And there's a reason we talk about it beyond the fact that we love it. We talk about it because we like it and we believe in it. But our sponsor, Optio, has been with us so long. It's because people continue to sign up for it and they see it happening. We see it happening. So I say all of that for one reason. It works. You would not be hearing about it so much for so long from us if it didn't work. It works. People like it, and they get a lot of value, especially in the first 8 weeks when you try it for free. So it's opteo.com/PSP2 for an 8-week free trial.
Thanks, Chris. Now, Robert has a question from Detroit, Michigan, and Robert was writing in to talk about my green, yellow, red keyword strategy.
Yeah, you may read it.
No, I just want to summarize it, and then I'm going to kind of ask it in a way that we can both talk about because it's a question for me, but it leads to a bigger point. So basically, Robert said, "Okay, I listened to the episode. The way I thought about it after listening to you guys talk about green, yellow, red was that yellow is kind of like a farm system. And then once those keywords produce well, keywords you're trying as yellow keywords with maybe medium bids, you can bump them up into the green ad groups or just call them green keywords and then bid more for them." So he said, is that is that perspective correct? And my answer to that would be yes. However, that it's very clear, like you have a farm system. Some keywords do good. You bump them up to a green and bid more for them because they're doing good. I agree with the way he's looking at that. But my question for you, Chris, is I'm questioning this strategy now of having some ad groups called like office movers and then one ad group called office movers -yellow. And in the yellow ad group have some looser keywords, some maybe broad, maybe loosely modified broad. Maybe they're not as much on topic, like for example, instead of office movers in my area, maybe it would be something like relocating offices or relocating office buildings with a low bid, just to see if we can get some conversions from it. But especially on the broad and the pure broad and the modified broad stuff now, I'm questioning this strategy. I'm questioning what I've done because of all this talk about broad keywords performing better and all this talk about variance. I just am, when I'm managing my accounts, I'm seeing a lot of like, this yellow keyword is performing better than the green keyword and I have lower bids on it. And so I guess I'm coming to you for advice. Should I cut this strategy out? And could you just give me a little refresher on what you do with keywords that you want to try that maybe I would call the yellow keywords? What do you do with a keyword you're not that confident in, but you want to try? Because I know you don't do the yellow strategy like this. So what are you doing? Because I need something new, because the yellow thing isn't getting it done in this post-match type variant,
right.
post-world society, post-world, I'm a smart guy, Google Ads world we live in, Chris.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, you're right. I don't do the red, yellow, green in that way, but I do it in a way that is just a bit more simple, because I don't like to have them in separate ad groups. So the way that I approach it is I do consider yellow, Robert, just like you had said, to be something that can either grow and flourish and become something very great and useful to me. But you also have to consider that it can shrivel up and die and just be trash on the ground, because it may get absolute junk.
Or be toxic and ruin your performance and eat up a lot of budget.
So the only thing that you have in Google Ads is not the budget. It's not negative keywords. It's bids. And the way that I approach it is I have to dole out the appropriate bid for the risk that's associated with each keyword. So I don't refer to it as red, yellow, green. I refer to it as risk management for my keywords. If something is high risk, I give it a low bid. If something is very low risk and proves its value and worth, then I give it high bids. And that's the way I think.
And how does it prove its value and worth?
Prove its value based on
conversions, correct?
Search terms, time on site, or site interaction, and then, of course, the gold standard would be conversions. Those are the three ways that it can prove itself to me.
It's very simple. It tells you what to do, basically, the system. If it's getting a lot of conversions, it's working. Raise the bids to a level you're comfortable with your cost per conversion. If it's not working as well, this is a big mistake a lot of people make with Google Ads, Chris. If it's not working as well, that doesn't mean it's not working. It just works at a lower rate. It works less often. So like you're saying, control it with a lower bid to account for the lower times it works.
And that's important, because if you judge it, Robert, if you judge it based on one factor, let's say you have conversions and you're basing it on one thing, which is conversions. That is a very binary switch. It's either good or bad. Good or bad. I say that's the wrong way to approach it. I say it's much more of a fluid approach, because there is time interaction on the site. Maybe you have a super good time on site, super low bounce rate, and you have a very good click-through rate, and the search terms look amazing, but it's not converting. That doesn't mean shut it off. That doesn't mean it's crap. There's something going on. Maybe you change the landing page. Maybe the product pricing, you can adjust. Maybe you have options to change the price of the product or service in a way for those, or serve a different, landing page with a little bit tweak of the service or product. That, I don't think it's a binary switch of good, bad. I think it can always be somewhere in between. And you make that decision based on bids.
Well, this is a very interesting point, because speaking of attribution models from an earlier question, you might have a pure broad keyword, might be super high volume, might be super low cost per click. It may hardly ever convert. But what if that pure broad keyword at a super, super low cost allows you to add people to your remarketing list, because they come to your site and they do stay on the site. You can see that with your analytics data, and it passes that soft conversion, but you don't actually get leads from that pure broad keyword, but they show interest. They're on your site for a long time. Then they're on your remarketing list. And when they're on your remarketing list, they actually do convert sometimes. Maybe that works for your business model. Well, with the attribution models, with the different ones you can use, you can associate that first pure broad click with that lead that came in from the remarketing, but it wouldn't really be on the remarketing if it didn't come in as a pure broad click. So it's a unique situation I'm talking about, Chris, but as we talk about attribution models, and I was really kind of went down that road because you start talking about like, hey, don't base it all on conversions. Sometimes things take second level thinking. Kind of made me think like, yeah, if you can get cheap traffic and you look at the analytics data and it's working to some extent, maybe there's something you can do with it other than just go bad and shut it off. So like the way you think, Chris. But yeah, red, yellow, green. Here's where I got in trouble, Chris. I made more ad groups. That always gets you in trouble.
Absolutely.
I didn't keep things simple.
Yep. Complexity.
So I'm going to keep things simple and close this show. We appreciate everyone listening. Send us your questions, pagesearchpodcast.com and on the contact page. And then please, if you don't mind, try out Patreon. Join us on Patreon. We do a great after show. After every single episode, it's very cheap, and it's a great gift to give to a friend in this holiday season.
What a great idea! Yeah, I just to give a tease, I have a couple things. I know you wanted to talk about something, but a couple. I don't ever come up with ideas for Patreon.
I'm floored right now. No. I'm gonna tease hard. I'm gonna tease people and myself real hard right now. Okay,
and myself.
I'm so curious.
Slipped myself.
I am so curious what you are actually bringing to the Patreon after show that you felt the need to talk about and bring up. Chris, you're very closed off. A lot of times you don't open up in our sessions on the after show. As we talked about last week, I should be on a couch during that after show. Right. I'm so curious that we're not going to tell anyone. I want to know in the moment, so we're going to move over to Patreon right now, and I'm going to find out what Chris wants to talk about.
I'll tell you guys, if you liked any of the topics, particularly some of the stuff that we teased about with management and time management, and if you have clients, that's the kind of things we talk about on the Patreon. So join us there. It's $2 a month or $4 a month, and you get to look in Jason's eyes, which... tell you what, it's worth a whole lot more than $4 a month. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next week.